The massive research station hung silently in Earth's orbit, its gleaming surfaces reflecting the distant starlight. Inside, Hyun Park watched the holographic displays with growing intensity, her dark eyes narrowing as strange readings began to cascade across the screens. Something was happening, something unprecedented. Quantum sensors across multiple star systems were registering an impossible event. A wave of dimensional compression was spreading like a silent storm, touching every known alien civilization simultaneously. At first it seemed impossible. Entire planetary populations beginning to shrink, not just a little. Dramatically, massive starships that once dominated galactic trade routes were suddenly reducing in size. Alien cities that sprawled across continents began compressing, their intricate structures collapsing into microscopic landscapes. Technological systems went haywire, communication networks fragmenting as species found themselves rapidly diminishing. Hyun's fingers flew across the holographic interface, tracking the bizarre phenomenon. Her team, a mix of Earth's most brilliant quantum physicists and xenobiological researchers, watched in stunned silence. "It's targeting biological structures," muttered Jae Kim, her colleague, zooming into a live feed from the Andromeda sector. Entire alien civilizations were transforming, their complex organisms shrinking at an exponential rate, but not humans. Somehow humanity remained unchanged. While every other known intelligent species in the galaxy experienced this quantum compression, humans stood firm. Their biological structures, their technological systems, their very existence remained stable and unaffected. The research station hummed with tension. Decades of interstellar exploration had shown humanity was unique, but this was something entirely different. This was survival on a cosmic scale. Quantum algorithms calculated the rate of compression. Some species were reducing to microscopic sizes within minutes. Entire planetary populations that once numbered in billions were now potentially smaller than a single water droplet. Hyun noticed something else. The compression wasn't random. There was a precise mathematical pattern underlying the event, something deliberate yet incomprehensible. "We need more data," she announced to her team, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were witnessing. Transmission logs from alien communication networks became increasingly fragmented. Desperate, messages in multiple languages flickered across secondary screens. "Pleas for help. Scientific observations. Pure terror." Each transmission grew shorter, the sources becoming smaller and more distant. The quantum wave continued its relentless progression. Orbital tracking systems showed entire star systems changing. Planets that once dominated galactic maps were now barely visible, their populations compressed into microscopic domains. Technological infrastructure collapsed. Communication networks disintegrated, yet humanity remained. Jae Kim pulled up comparative biological scans, his hands moving quickly across the holographic interface. Human cellular structures showed complete resistance to the dimensional compression. Where alien biology collapsed, human systems remained stable, almost defiant. "It's like we're protected," he muttered, more to himself than to anyone else. Hyun understood the implications immediately. This wasn't just a scientific anomaly. This was a potential extinction-level event for every known alien civilization. And somehow, inexplicably, humans were the only species immune to its effects. Outside the research station's massive windows, stars continued their eternal dance. But something fundamental had changed in the universe. A transformation was occurring, and humanity found itself in an unprecedented position, not just as observers, but as potential saviors. The quantum compression continued, silent and relentless. The research base buzzed with nervous energy. Screens flickered with data from across the galaxy, showing the continued miniaturization of alien civilizations. Dr. Soo-Jin Lee stood at the center of the main research hub, her eyes locked on complex holographic displays. Something extraordinary was happening, and humanity needed answers. Weeks had passed since the initial quantum event. While other species had been reduced to microscopic fragments, Human researchers worked tirelessly to understand the phenomenon. They had collected dozens of sample containers, each holding entire miniaturized alien civilizations. Entire worlds compressed into spaces smaller than a sugar cube. "We need to find the source," Sujin told her team, pointing to a specific region of space near the Orion Nebula. Satellite probes had detected an unusual energy signature, something ancient and powerful. The artifact looked nothing like anyone expected. Retrieved from a deep space archaeological mission, it was a small metallic object no larger than a human hand. Its surface was covered in intricate geometric patterns that seemed to shift and change when viewed from different angles. Captain Woo Sung Park carefully examined the artifact in the containment lab. Special protective equipment surrounded the object, which seemed to pulse with an internal energy that defied current scientific understanding. "This isn't just a technology," Sujin explained during a briefing. "It's more like a dimensional algorithm, something designed to manipulate the fundamental structures of space and time." Initial scans revealed complex quantum mechanics beyond current human understanding. The artifact appeared to be a remnant of a civilization far more advanced than anything currently known. Its design suggested a method of spatial compression, but something had gone terribly wrong during its activation. Jae Kim, one of the lead researchers, discovered something even more fascinating. The artifact contained encoded information, a kind of quantum language that seemed to describe a process of dimensional restructuring. But the full message remained partially encrypted. "It's like a cosmic puzzle," he told his colleagues. "Someone designed this to do something specific, but the mechanism went out of control." Experiments began carefully. Small robotic probes approached the artifact, collecting data. Each interaction revealed more of its complex nature. The object seemed to respond to specific quantum frequencies, its internal structure changing in ways that defied traditional physics. Humanity's survival became more than just an accident. It was becoming clear that something in human biological and technological systems was fundamentally different. Where other species collapsed, humans remained stable. Blood samples, genetic analyses, and quantum structural scans all showed the same result. Human cellular structures had an inherent resistance to dimensional compression. It was as if human biology contained a natural protective mechanism that other species lacked. "We're not just surviving," Sujin told Captain Park. "We might be the key to understanding and potentially reversing this entire event." The research base worked around the clock. Teams from different scientific disciplines collaborated. Quantum physicists worked alongside geneticists. Engineers collaborated with xenobiologists. Every piece of data was crucial. Outside the research windows, Earth continued its regular rotation. Cities bustled. People lived their lives, mostly unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding. Humanity had become the unexpected guardian of multiple civilizations, tiny worlds now preserved in carefully designed microenvironments. The artifact continued to pulse. Its secrets remained partially hidden, a complex puzzle waiting to be solved. But humanity was patient, and humanity was determined. Something extraordinary was coming, and they would be ready. The massive human rescue ship moved silently through space, its hull gleaming with specialized containment technology. Hyun Park stood at the command center, watching carefully as they approached another miniaturized planetary system. Rescue operations had become humanity's most critical mission. Thousands of micro-containers lined the ship's interior, each holding entire alien civilizations compressed into spaces smaller than sugar cubes. These were not just samples. They were living worlds, complete societies waiting to be saved. "Approaching Zeta Quadrant," announced the navigation officer. The holographic display showed a tiny blue-green dot, an entire planet now reduced to microscopic proportions. Specialized nanodrones deployed from the ship's external chambers. These intricate machines could manipulate matter at the smallest possible scales, creating protective environments for miniaturized civilizations. Each drone was essentially a mobile life support system, capable of maintaining complex ecological and social structures. Hyun watched as the first drone approached the miniaturized planet. Precision was everything. One wrong move could destroy an entire civilization. The drone's sensors began mapping the compressed world. Microscopic cities, their structures perfectly preserved but incredibly tiny, came into view. Alien buildings that once stood kilometers high were now smaller than a human fingernail. Entire populations moved like intricate clockwork mechanisms, their daily lives continuing despite their dramatic reduction. "Containment field stabilizing," reported J. Kim from the technical station. His fingers moved quickly across quantum interface panels, adjusting microscopic environmental parameters. Rescue wasn't just about preservation. It was about maintaining the delicate balance of entire societies. Each microcontainer required precise temperature, atmospheric conditions, and energy management. Human technology had become the lifeline for thousands of compressed civilizations. Some alien species were more challenging than others. The silicon-based life forms from the Epsilon system required completely different environmental controls compared to the liquid-based organisms from the Gamma sector. Each rescue mission was a complex puzzle of scientific precision and technological innovation. "We're detecting multiple population centers," Hyun announced. Her voice remained calm, professional. Years of training had prepared her for this unprecedented mission. Microscopic communication networks were carefully restored. Tiny transmission systems allowed these compressed civilizations to maintain their social structures, their cultures preserved within these miniature worlds. Humans became more than rescuers. They became guardians of entire species. The ship's medical bay contained advanced research stations where scientists studied the compression phenomenon. Blood samples, genetic materials, and quantum structural analyses continued around the clock. Understanding how these civilizations survived became as important as preserving them. Captain Woo Sung Park entered the command center, his face showing both determination and compassion. "Status report," he requested. Hyun outlined the current rescue progress. 57 planetary systems had been successfully contained. Thousands of alien civilizations now existed within carefully managed microenvironments aboard the human rescue ship. Outside the ship's massive windows, space remained silent, but inside, entire universes moved and breathed. A warning signal suddenly flashed on the main display. One of the microcontainers showed slight environmental instability. J. Kim's hands moved rapidly, adjusting quantum stabilization fields. "Minor fluctuation in the Proxima containment zone," he reported. "Correcting now." Hyun watched the readouts. Milliseconds counted. One moment of uncertainty could mean the destruction of an entire civilization. The stabilization field adjusted. The microcontainer returned to perfect balance. Another world saved. Humanity's rescue mission continued. Silent, precise, determined. They were no longer just a species. They were guardians of life itself. The research complex stood like a beacon of hope against the silent backdrop of space. Dr. Soo-Jin Lee worked tirelessly, her fingers moving across holographic interfaces that displayed complex quantum calculations. The dimensional stabilization field was humanity's greatest challenge. Weeks of continuous research had produced a breakthrough. Early prototype systems showed promise, a potential method to reverse the massive compression that had devastated alien civilizations. But nothing was certain. "We're close," Soo-Jin muttered to herself, reviewing quantum frequency patterns that danced across her screens. Representatives from compressed civilizations watched nervously. Tiny communication pods allowed miniaturized alien leaders to observe and communicate. Their entire existence now depended on human technological intervention. The main research chamber looked like a combination of a high-tech laboratory and a complex mathematical puzzle. Quantum generators hummed with energy, creating intricate fields that could potentially manipulate dimensional structures. Each system represented years of human scientific innovation. J. Kim entered the laboratory, carrying additional data modules. "We've identified a potential frequency sequence," he announced, displaying a complex series of quantum wave patterns. Political negotiations proved challenging. Compressed alien civilizations were understandably skeptical. Humanity, a species they had previously considered unremarkable, was now their only hope of survival. "Trust is our primary protocol," Jay would repeatedly explain during diplomatic communications. The artifact discovered near the Orion Nebula remained the key. Its complex geometric patterns seemed to hold the secret to dimensional manipulation. Scientists worked to decode its intricate quantum language, hoping to understand the original compression mechanism. Prototype stabilization generators began taking shape. Each version became more refined, more precise. The goal was simple, yet impossible: restore entire civilizations to their original size and structural integrity. Captain Woo Sung Park oversaw the diplomatic aspects. Meetings with alien representatives happened in specially designed communication chambers. Tiny holographic projections of alien leaders discussed potential restoration strategies. "We will not abandon you," became humanity's consistent message. The technological challenges were immense. Restoring an entire civilization meant managing quantum frequencies, biological structures, and technological systems simultaneously. One miscalculation could mean total destruction. Research teams worked in shifts. Quantum physicists collaborated with geneticists. Engineers worked alongside xenobiological experts. The research complex never slept. Computer simulations ran continuously. Each test provided tiny pieces of a massive cosmic puzzle. The stabilization field needed to be perfect, a delicate balance of energy, frequency, and precise mathematical calculations. "We're seeing promising results," Soo-jin told her team during a critical briefing. A recent simulation showed a 0.03% successful restoration of a compressed planetary system. It wasn't much, but it was hope. The alien representatives watched every test. Their entire existence balanced on these tiny moments of potential breakthrough. Entire civilizations compressed into spaces smaller than sugar cubes now depended on human technology. Jae Kim discovered a critical breakthrough one late evening. A specific quantum frequency seemed to interact differently with the compression artifact. His hands moved quickly, capturing the data before it could disappear. "This could be the key," he whispered. The research complex continued its work. Lights flickered, quantum generators hummed, and hope remained constant. Humanity had become more than a species. They were now the potential saviors of entire galactic civilizations. The technological intervention continued, precise, determined, unwavering. 1. Calculation at a time. The moment arrived without fanfare. Quiet anticipation filled the research complex as Dr. Soo-jin Lee prepared to activate the dimensional restoration sequence. Tiny worlds waited. Compressed civilizations held their collective breath. Quantum generators hummed with unprecedented energy. The massive restoration chamber looked like a perfect blend of scientific precision and cosmic hope. Holographic displays showed complex mathematical sequences dancing across multiple screens. "Initiating primary frequency," Jae Kim announced, his fingers moving carefully across quantum interface panels. The first test began with a miniaturized planetary system from the Epsilon sector. Microscopic cities, compressed into spaces smaller, then sugar cubes began to respond to the carefully calculated quantum frequencies. Something magical happened. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the tiny world started expanding. Buildings that were microscopic moments before began growing. Structural integrity returned. Alien populations that had been compressed for months started returning to their original sizes. Captain Woo Sung Park watched the monitors, his breath catching in his throat. Each second counted. Each calculation could mean survival or destruction for entire civilizations. The restoration wasn't perfect. Early attempts showed complications. Some planetary systems experienced partial transformations. Entire cities would partially expand, then contract. Ecological systems struggled to maintain balance. But humanity was patient. Research teams worked around the clock adjusting quantum parameters. The artifact from the Orion Nebula provided critical insights. Its complex geometric patterns seemed to hold the key to understanding dimensional compression. We're learning, Sujin told her team. Each failure teaches us something new. Alien representatives watched from their tiny communication pods. Their entire existence balanced on these moments of potential restoration. Civilizations that had been reduced to microscopic fragments now saw a potential return to normalcy. The second restoration attempt showed more promise. A planetary system from the Gamma sector expanded more completely. Entire cities returned to their original structures. Populations began recovering their previous technological capabilities. Humanity had become more than observers. They were saviors. Quantum frequencies danced across complex interfaces. Mathematical calculations that would have been impossible just months earlier now seemed almost routine. Each successful restoration brought more hope. Stabilization field, holding, J. Kim reported during a critical moment. An entire alien civilization expanded within the restoration chamber, returning to its original size and complexity. Political discussions became more optimistic. Alien leaders who had been skeptical now looked to humans with respect and gratitude. Humanity had done what no other species could, saved entire civilizations from total destruction. The restoration process wasn't quick. Some planetary systems took weeks to fully return to their original dimensions. Ecological systems needed careful management. Technological infrastructures required precise recalibration. But progress continued. Weeks turned into months. More and more compressed civilizations found themselves returning to normal. The research complex became a beacon of hope for multiple star systems. We will not stop, Sujin told a gathering of alien representatives, until every compressed civilization is restored. The final stages of restoration revealed something unexpected. The quantum compression had changed these civilizations. Their understanding of dimensional physics had expanded. Technologies that were once impossible now seemed within reach. Humanity had not just saved these civilizations. They had transformed them. As the last compressed planetary system began its restoration, something miraculous happened. The quantum frequencies created a network, a connection between previously isolated civilizations. Space suddenly felt smaller. Connections felt stronger. The restoration was complete. Humanity stood at the center of a new galactic understanding. No longer just another species, now the guardians of hope.